Hello, it's Jim Hutchens for the Jerusalem Connection Spot Report for this week. There are two events that have taken place last week out of the Obama administration that, in my judgment, could have biblical dimensions to it. The first has to do with the threat at this point of taking the whole issue of sanctions for Israel on the part of the world and in this case the United States, taking this to the United Nations, bypassing Congress. The U.S. has exercised their veto power in the past. The question is whether they would do that in the future. So this remains to be seen, but it is an ominous threat. The second is even more concerning, and it has to do with the capacity that the Israelis have for a nuclear weapon themselves. Now, this has been a supposedly known secret for years. I've heard about it for 30 years. But they have not expressed a willingness to reveal whether that's true or not. But this past February, and I want to read this, this is from a White House correspondent. This last February, the Pentagon declassified 386-page report from 1987, several years ago, exposing for the first time ever, the actual depth of top-secret military cooperation between the United States and Israel, including, amazingly, information about Israel's acknowledged nuclear program. So they've revealed information about Israel's nuclear program. And Israel has kept that a secret, wanted that a secret. There's some indication that Israel has not forbidden the release of this report. I'm not sure about that. We'll have to wait and see if that is in fact the case. But going on, in view of the caustic tension which has increased lately between Washington and Jerusalem, and this is growing, it's deepening, it's intense. The timing of the publication's declassification after a long legal process might raise a few eyebrows. I have some knowledge about the build-up process of Israel's nuclear capacity, and after reading the report in question, I must express my astonishment. I have never seen an official American document disclosing such extensive revelation on subjects that until now were regarded by both administrations as unspeakable secrets. Unspeakable secrets until now. The report describes in detail the march of the Israeli military technological advancements in the 1970s and 80s. The authors drew particular attention to the development and progression of Israel's nuclear infrastructure and research labs. The most surprising segment in the report states that the Israelis are, quote, developing the kinds of codes which will enable them to make hydrogen bombs, end of quote. It should be emphasized that in the history of the relations between the two countries, there is no other published official American document that mentions in any way the Israelis' development of hydrogen bombs. This, I would say, is a betrayal. This is a betrayal of the first order, of the only ally, real ally that we have, really in the world, but certainly in the Middle East. And it's no secret that President Obama has a contempt, a visceral contempt for Prime Minister Netanyahu and for the Israeli people. It is a contempt that I would suggest borders on a curse. And when we're speaking of curses, we're speaking in biblical terms. And I'm reminded of the passage that's given to us in Genesis chapter 12, where God makes a covenant with Abraham and to his descendants forever. It's an unconditional covenant. God puts himself in the position of having to fulfill the covenant. But this is what he said in Genesis chapter 12 and verse 3. He says, I will bless those, plural, I will bless those who bless you. I will curse him, singular, who curses you. And in my judgment, President Obama has provoked the possibility of the curse of God upon himself. God will not be mocked. And I think it's important that we recognize that. And it's important that we recognize that this president, it appears that this president has provoked the curse of God upon himself. I will bless those who bless you. I will curse him who curses you. It remains to be seen what that will look like in the days ahead. Till next week, Od Ki Yavo Shiloh, or until Messiah comes, Yivareka Yahweh. Yahweh bless you. Yahweh bless yours.